They are so delicious. They should be able to send you what you need. It was the worst. The instructions suck. Just with different names, it's kind of weird. I don't know. We weren't impressed. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're just gonna be like sitting here chatting, and I feel like I never film videos where I'm just literally sitting here talking to the camera, like not showing anything and not doing anything. I'm literally just sitting here talking to you guys. But we're gonna be talking about all the different meal delivery services that I have been showing recently on my channel. I don't know exactly how I structured this, but my plan is kind of do like a week of this topic basically. And keep in mind, none of this is sponsored, none of these are sent to me, and none of these companies like know who I am. We purchased all of this with our own money. My husband and I have been trying out so many different meal services, like meal delivery services lately, on purpose, just to test them out, just to kind of get a feel for like some different companies and different services and how they do things. Because as y'all probably know, we really love Homechef. Like, we love Homechef. I actually have 2 different videos on my channel. I think I have one just testing it out, and then I have 2 videos that are a full week of Homechef meals, like making a Homechef meal every single night and just giving you guys kind of an idea of what kind of meals you can expect and how it is to make them and things like that. And we have just like fallen in love with Homechef, but we decided to kind of branch out and try some other ones just to see what else is out there, and I have some thoughts. So I thought I would round up all my thoughts in this video and kind of just compare and contrast the different ones that we've tried so far. I feel like Homechef is kind of like our baseline measuring tool for all the other ones, just because we're so obsessed with it. I definitely have some thoughts, good, bad, and ugly, on the other services, and I wanted to give you guys kind of the skinny on what is good, what's worth trying, what's not worth trying, and all the things. I have been posting a video, like my first impression of testing out each of these individual services, so I think that came out to 4 or 5 different videos testing out each individual one. I will have linked all the videos of me testing out each of the individual boxes, so that after or even before you listen to all my thoughts, you can kind of see how it went down initially. And then of course I will have all of my Homechef videos linked as well. And then lastly, of course, I will have like a link for all these different services down in the description box, and a lot of them will give you, actually I think all of them give you a really good discount for your first box if you want to try them out. And it's typically the best discount you can get on the internet. Like, I have searched the internet to find like the best discount codes, and these are the best ones that are out there. You can get the meals for as low as like $3 or $4 a serving, and some of them even less, like under $3 per serving, which is insane. So even if you only want to try it once just to give it a shot and then you just cancel it from then on out, you can totally do that. Obviously, if you watch those individual videos, you will get some of these thoughts, but this is more of like my actual fully formed opinions about them. Some of them I did try more than once and didn't film for those other videos, so I have developed some more thoughts. But if y'all want to get the lowdown on all these different meal delivery services, then just keep watching. So I figure I'll just start with Homechef really quick. If you guys have seen those videos, then you probably already know a good amount of this stuff, but Homechef is our absolute favorite. They are a little bit on the pricey side as for some items. Like, if you want to get the ahi tuna and the mahi mahi and things like that, their portion prices can be a little bit expensive, but I am telling you guys, they are so delicious. They're like the best in my opinion out of all the ones I've tried. I've tried quite a few, as you will see. They're the best that you can get in terms of the quality, the customer service, in terms of the taste. All the ingredients are amazing. They always come super fresh. They last super well in the fridge. They're really good portion sizes. They're amazing. They come in like the clear little baggies that you can just throw in your fridge, but they are clear so you can see into them and you know what's in them. And of course they're labeled, so it's easy to store in the fridge. They come with like really big recipe cards, which I personally love. I like to save them, but they're just easy to read and cook off of. And one of the things that I didn't realize until I tried some of these other services is Homechef is really good about providing literally everything that you need to make the meal, except for like the olive oil if you need to like coat the pan, and then salt and pepper. They provide literally everything else, as I'll mention in some of the other boxes. You'll have to provide a lot of stuff yourself: milk, eggs, vinegar, ketchup. Homechef gives you everything. If you need to fry something in oil, like deep fry it, they give you the canola oil. They give you every single ingredient that you need, and they don't do a lot of repeats. I did notice with some of the other delivery services that like every couple weeks there would be a lot of repetition from like the options that you had a few weeks before. They don't really do that, but each week they have a bajillion options. I feel like they have like 20 plus options every single week for meals. They range from like regular full cooking meals to 15-minute prepped meals to meals that are basically already oven ready and you don't even need to get a cutting board or a utensil out. Like, they're so easy. They have a range for everybody. They of course have vegetarian. It's amazing what they offer. I'm telling you, you cannot beat it. And especially with the code that I have, it's an insane value with that code. It's so delicious. I swear you will be hooked after you try it once. It is so good. Homechef is definitely my #1 most recommended favorite. We get Homechef every single week. We are obsessed. Their customer service is really, really good and we love them. So I'll just go out there and say that's my favorite out of everything in this video. Okay, so next I'm going to talk about EveryPlate, and EveryPlate is a little bit more on like the affordable side. Like I said, some of these meal services can be a little bit pricey on like a per portion basis. EveryPlate I believe is around $4.99 per portion. Of course, with my link, like I said, I think it comes out to like $2.50 a portion, so it's crazy cheap with the code that I have. But even if you pay like full price, it's really affordable. But I feel like you can kind of tell it's more affordable because their recipes are they're just not as involved. It's not that they're not as delicious, but they're a little bit more basic, a little bit more just kind of like meat and potato and veggie. Like they're not as complex, which maybe for some people is good, but I prefer to have a little bit of like more variety and like intricacy in my meals typically. They also have the meal cards. They're pretty small meal cards, which doesn't really bother me, but I really like, and I got used to like the big Homechef ones, so that's something that I just wish like their meal cards weren't so itty bitty, but they're nice for storage because they're not crazy big. But the one thing that you maybe will love that I'm not crazy about is they don't have all the ingredients like pre-bagged like Homechef and a lot of services do. They just literally send you, it's kind of just like a half box, and they just have all the ingredients in it. It's not portioned out by meal, so every time you want to make a meal, you kind of have to go look in the box and grab the individual items, which obviously like isn't a big deal. That's what you have to do out of your normal fridge if you grocery shop. Compared to the other services, it seems like it's inconvenient, but it's really not a big deal. But it's just not quite as like conveniently packaged and easy to like slip into your fridge, which again, no big deal, but it is different. And they do require a lot of your own stuff, like I was saying. So like you will have to have like your own butter, your own ketchup, your own eggs, your own milk, your own vinegar sometimes. So that's the thing. If you do these services more because you maybe live alone, or you don't like to have a lot of things stocked up, or you travel a lot and you don't keep stuff in the fridge or the pantry, or you don't go to the grocery store a lot, I don't know how well this would work for someone like that, just because if you don't have those things, it might be difficult to make the recipe. However, if you're kind of more of like a traditional normal kitchen where you have those things on hand for normal everyday to day stuff, then it wouldn't be a problem. It's all stuff that you would definitely have. But I feel like if you're paying for it, they should just provide it. They should be able to send you what you need. And there are some meals that you do have to pay more for. Like I said, most meals are like the $4.99 range, but sometimes obviously if they have like either higher end steaks or some seafood, they will charge an extra like $1.99 to like $3.99 per serving, depending. I mean, all meal services have that. That's not like out of the norm. Even like Homechef charges a little bit more for more higher price items, but that is something to keep in mind. And I would say the portion sizes were pretty decent. There was like a couple I remember that I was like, I feel like there could be a little bit more to this, but for the most part, the portion sizes were really, really good. However, I wasn't just like really blown away by flavor of anything. Like I feel like with Homechef, me and Ken will eat it and be like, oh my gosh, this is so good. But with this, I felt like it was all just like fairly average. Like none of it was bad, but I wasn't like blown away. None of it was like super crazy different or out of this world, but it was totally good. And I think like for the price, it's a really good value. Like I said, you're paying double for Homechef with some types of meals, so I guess you expect there to be included a little bit more ingredients and a little more flavor and more complexity. So I think for like a beginner or a really like basic cook, EveryPlate would be really good because it's affordable, it's simple, really easy to follow the instructions. I think it would work for a lot of people. It's definitely good value for the price, and it's definitely worth the money for sure. So these next two, I have some thoughts on, and they're actually kind of similar. I'm going to start with the Martha Stewart Marley spoon. I don't really get the name. It's like Marley spoon, but it's Martha Stewart X Marley spoon. I don't really fully get it, but obviously it's Martha Stewart's subscription service, and I will just say right off the bat, it was the worst. It was awful, terrible, horrible, and I do not recommend it. I will still have it linked in case you're interested. It's a good coupon code, so it's worth trying out once because you might have a better experience than me. I did not have a good experience whatsoever. First of all, I think it is way too expensive. Like if you pay full price, I think it's way too expensive for what you're getting. They charge you for shipping. Oh, that's something I should have said. Homechef doesn't charge you for shipping over, I think, $39, but we always typically order more than that, so we never pay for shipping. EveryPlate, I believe, charges for shipping no matter what. but the Martha Stewart one does charge for shipping no matter what, which I think is crazy. I feel like shipping should be included over a certain threshold, like the fact that you have to pay for shipping no matter what. So I don't really like that, and I just feel like the portions are kind of expensive as well. And then in my first box, which I'm pretty sure this is all in the video, they only put one recipe card instead of two. So there was literally one meal that I just like didn't have a recipe card for, and then there was an ingredient missing. I think it was garlic or something like that. Like, it just wasn't in the box. And this was the weirdest part. The directions were extremely hard to follow, and I don't have this problem like ever. I cook a lot. I follow recipes. I pretty much only cook from recipes. I don't really just like cook stuff out of my head that often, so I know how to follow a recipe, and the instructions just like didn't make sense. It seemed like they were created by someone that hadn't actually made the food ever. Like, they were just like, okay, like if I was making this is what I would do, and it didn't really seem to like flow. It didn't seem to go in any kind of chronological order, and I noticed that on some recipes it like would just skip a step. Like, common sense can make you figure it out, but you shouldn't have to. A recipe should have all the steps. It shouldn't assume that you can figure anything out on your own. And a lot of times I feel like people using the subscription services don't cook a lot, or maybe don't have a lot of experience cooking, and so they need to have all the steps listed out for them. I never experienced any weird recipe card issue like that before, but that was like kind of a big turn off for me. And then there were also times when they gave me an ingredient that was never called for. Like, I remember eating a whole entire head of garlic and none of the recipes had garlic in them, which I guess is obviously fine. Like, I use the garlic for other stuff, but it's also like, why was that in here if I didn't need it? And then there are also recipes where like they would give you a ton of something, like a whole onion or like a whole head of mint or something, and then not specify in the recipe how much to use. Like, I made something with mint and it just said like chop up mint, and they had given me a huge head of mint, or I don't know if it's called a head of mint, but like a bunch of mint, and it didn't tell me how much to put in it. And thank God I didn't just chop up the whole thing, because it would have ruined it. But again, for people that aren't really advanced cooks, or like aren't really like paying super close attention to what they're making, and it says add mint, you might think, oh, they gave me this mint, I need to use all of it. And no, that would have literally ruined the dish. The instructions suck. I will say the portion sizes are totally decent. Like, they're actually pretty good, but they weren't really that delicious. Like, to be totally honest, they weren't like, none of them were like disgusting, but they were the least delicious of all the meals that we tried. I don't know. We weren't impressed. And then my second box that I got, because I figured it was worth another shot, like everything was smashed. There was like stuff that got smashed. It was like a Greek yogurt. It got smashed and it was everywhere, and then I couldn't use it for the ingredient I needed it for because it was smashed. I don't know why it was just floating around in the box and it wasn't in the little bag that they provide. They do give you like little baggies for all their meals, I should have said, but they're in brown paper bags with like a little sticker over them, so you can't see through them, which isn't a big deal. They have like the name of what the recipe is on the sticker, but I kind of like the clear bag. Every box I got from them had some kind of faux pas like that. It could like really affect your meal. But because of those issues, I did have to like contact their customer service, and their customer service was really good and super nice and very accommodating, so I will definitely give them that. They also have some meals labeled as like double the portions, because the one thing about Martha Stewart is that you don't pay extra for any type of meal. Like, whether you get the steak, the chicken, the seafood, they're all the same price every single week, which is kind of nice. Some of them will be called like double the portions, same price, and it's kind of making you think that it's gonna like give you enough leftovers for 2 more portions if that's what you typically get. But I didn't find that to really be true. I kind of thought the double the portion thing was like kind of a lie. Honestly, I wouldn't fall for that. Just like overall, I just would say don't do it. Like, I just don't think it's worth the money. I don't think it's worth the hassle. You do have to also have some of your own ingredients with that one. Not as many as EveryPlate, but you do still need to have some of your own ingredients. It might be worth trying with the discount code that I have. I mean, I tried it with a discount and I would have been pissed if I had paid full price for it and had the experience I did. There's a lot of really good choices, and they even have desserts and stuff like that, so it's got some cool features. If they just did a better job, it would be a really cool service to use, but overall I don't think I can recommend it. The next one I want to talk about is Dinnerly, which is actually, I realized after I already tried the Martha Stewart, they're definitely owned by the same company. I actually had to talk to their customer service and I did confirm they are the same company, and you can even tell by the app, like when you're using the 2 different apps and the meals, like it's just, you can tell they're basically the same exact service with just like a different name and like a different like color theme. They both have like the double the portions. They're both the same like price for all the meals. They both charge for shipping the same amount. Like, their apps are identical. They're exactly the same company, just with different names. It's kind of weird. I had an equally terrible experience, maybe even more so, because my first box I got, there was a piece of ginger, like a ginger root, and it had mold all over it, like furry, hairy mold. It was gross. Like, it's one thing to be missing an ingredient, or an ingredient to like not be like in super good condition, like maybe it's a little dry or it's looking a little old. But like to have mold on it, like that means it was sitting wherever you keep your ingredients in your warehouse or whatever for like a long time. And then clearly there's like no quality control, because who just like put that in my box without even checking? It really took me by surprise. And then in the same box, the head of garlic had like black mold, or like it wasn't furry. It didn't look the same. The quality of the ingredients, I opened that box, I was like, what am I looking at? I contacted their customer service, and again, like they were nice and everything, but I was like, this is a terrible first impression, a terrible first experience. The worst part about Dinnerly though, I mean, maybe is equally as bad, is they don't send you recipe cards. Martha Stewart sends you really big recipe cards, just like Homechef, but Dinnerly doesn't send any, so that's like the one main difference between the two companies, I feel like. You just have to use your phone and go on the app, and then, you know, go to your account and see what meals you ordered, and then you have to go off your phone, which I think is so obnoxious, because if you want to use your phone, or you're playing music or whatever, you're watching YouTube while you cook, you have to keep getting out of it to go into the app and check the recipe. Plus, I like having the recipe cards, the physical cards, so I can keep them all in a folder, and I get looking at your phone like it's 2021. A lot of people use recipes from online on their phone and their iPad, so I get it, but with the services, I like to have the card, and I hate that they don't do that. And then the other terrible part is that unlike EveryPlate doesn't bag the items up like per meal, but at least they give you kind of a little box that you can put on your shelf in your fridge, and everything's kind of self-contained. Dinnerly doesn't even do that. They just literally throw all the ingredients in the box, and then when you get the box, you just have to take everything out and like just put it in your fridge wherever. Like, it's not sorted by meals, and it's not even contained. It's just as if they like gave you a grocery bag full of everything and was like, here. And again, I get like if you were at a grocery shop, you would do the same thing. You would just put everything in your fridge where it goes. But when you're paying for a meal service, the convenience of having it kind of organized for you and like kind of prepped up and easy and ready to go is, I feel like, part of what you're paying for. And the fact that it just felt like they sent me just like a bag of groceries to figure out myself, I just felt like, what, for the price that you're paying, I feel like they should be doing a little bit more. And even in the app, like on Homechef, for example, when you go in the app and you look at each step, or when you look at the card, each step has a picture of the ingredients and like what you should be doing and what the steps are. Like, obviously someone was cooking this in their like test kitchen and took pictures along the way. Dinnerly doesn't even have that. They have like a spot where a picture would be, but instead it just has like a 1 and a 2 and a 3 for like the steps where they could have a picture. So I really literally feel like nobody ever cooked these things. They just like thought of these recipes in their head and then just wrote it down and sent it away. Yeah, I feel the same way about them as I do about the Martha Stewart box, honestly, but I don't really like them for basically the same reasons. I would say Martha Stewart and Dinnerly, hard pass. That's a no from me, dog. And then last but not least, of course, we have to talk about HelloFresh. Again, not sponsored. I know almost everybody is. I wanted to try them out just because I feel like, again, everyone gets sent their boxes or they're sponsored by them, and I wanted to see what the hype was about. And I thought it was like just okay. I felt like it was very, very expensive. Their portion sizes, I think they're probably the most expensive out of any of the subscription boxes I'm talking about today. Like, their portions are very expensive. Their shipping was expensive. Even with the code, which of course I will have below, still like not as cheap as a lot of the other codes that you can get. They do have the really big recipe cards like Homechef, which is really, really nice, and the steps definitely made sense. I liked the whole like recipe card experience. I did notice when I was like looking through their meals each week, it does seem like they have a lot of repeats, kind of like I said with EveryPlate from a couple weeks before. They'll have like a lot of repeat options. Their app is really nice to use. I feel like I haven't really talked about that a ton. I mean, these all have pretty decent apps. I use the apps for all of them, but the HelloFresh app is pretty decent. You do have to pay extra for like the good stuff, like for the fish and the steak. Like, they are extra. Sometimes they're like a lot extra per serving. I just feel like it was really expensive. The portion sizes were definitely decent. I feel like maybe this would be probably like, out of all the ones I've talked about, like Homechef would be my favorite, and then I feel like HelloFresh and EveryPlate would kind of be in the same ballpark, and then Martha Stewart and Dinnerly would be way at the bottom. So I don't know, I feel like it's really hyped up, but it's definitely not as good as Homechef. I know I keep comparing everything to them, but they're really just my favorite. They do all come pre-portioned in HelloFresh, like in their own little bags, which is nice, and they have the nice recipe cards. So I would say that they do have a lot going for them, and their recipes always sound really interesting. Like, they have just cool, different, unique recipes and things that you probably wouldn't have thought to make before. And so there's always a recipe that sounds really good. There's usually like a lot of recipes that sound really good. We weren't like as impressed as I thought we would be. So those are kind of my thoughts on all the different meal subscription services. I hope that this was helpful. Obviously you can tell I'm just obsessed with Homechef, and I definitely would say if y'all are interested in trying any of them, Homechef would just be my top recommendation. Like I said, I'm not sponsored by them. They don't know who I am. As for the other ones, like I said, I will have them linked, and definitely try watching the videos of my first impressions. You'll get a little bit more of a raw reaction. None of them, well, I'm not gonna say none of them are awful. I kind of feel like the Martha Stewart and the Dinner Layer are like fairly awful. The other two, HelloFresh and EveryPlate, are decent and are definitely worth trying, and I think for the price, EveryPlate is definitely worth it. HelloFresh, a decent quality subscription service. Those are my thoughts. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you enjoyed. If you have like any questions about any of these, I have done multiple boxes from all of these companies, so I have like more experience even than you see in the videos that I posted. If you have any questions, I can certainly give you my opinion or share my experience with anything else that you're wondering. I feel like it can be kind of hard to decide what box to try, and of course there are a ton that we haven't tried, so it's definitely possible that I will do another little series like this in the future. I just wanted to start out with these 5, I guess it came out to be, and share my thoughts. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to subscribe, we would love to have you. We have so much fun here, and until next time, I will see y'all in our next video. Bye guys.